You following breaking news from Texas. TMZ reports popular rapper Takeoff is dead after a shooting outside a bowling alley and pool hall in Houston.
Police confirmed rappers Takeoff and Quavo of the rap group Migos were in attendance at the private party. The shooting occurred around 2:30 this morning on the third level of the establishment. According to TMZ, an altercation broke out during a dice game and someone at the scene opened fire, hitting Takeoff. He was pronounced dead at the scene. 2 other people were shot and taken to the hospital. Their condition is not known at this point in time, but we will be sure to bring you the latest updates.
Houston, we have a problem.
Hey, what's good everybody? It's your boy Seethruthescript here, back with another video, and as I'm sure most of you have heard by now, the rapper Takeoff, 1/3 of the rap group the Migos, has been shot in the head/neck area in a Houston bowling alley at roughly 2:30 a.m. when the cops were called to the scene. Now, this video is going to cover as many angles as I can regarding the murder of Takeoff and why it happened on November 1st. And I usually give a little bit of a background story on the person I'm discussing, but this time we're just going to jump right into the decode using the practice of English Gematria. This involves the 4 base ciphers you can see on your screen here, as well as the date numerology, date durations, and day or days left in the year, basically finding the patterns laid out before our very eyes. And I do want to drop a disclaimer, I'm not here to make money or gain clout off the death of another man, just merely presenting my take and findings regarding his passing, so RIP to Takeoff. Another thing, many will come on here saying things like, oh, is he really dead? It's probably fake. Why does this happen? Who's to blame? This is a reach, or you missed this and you missed that. Remember people, I am just one man. I don't have a team of researchers or editors at my fingertips. I'm on the outside looking in, just like you guys. I find what I find and I share what I share. That's why there's a comment section to drop what I missed below. Without further ado, let's get into it. Notice, Takeoff died at the age of 28. In the most pure cipher, his name equals 28 alongside the word kill. He was shot and killed. Next, you can see he died on a date with 34 numerology. Notice QC, the label he repped to the fullest, and his cause of death being murder both equal 34. Now, Takeoff, his stage name also equals 35 in the reverse reduction cipher. Notice he died on the 305th day of the year. Using the rules of numerology, zeros are null, leaving us with the number 35. Real quick, from Takeoff's 28th to his death is a span of 19 weeks and 3 days, like the number 193. Which is the 44th prime number. Notice the words kill and shooting both equal 44. But it gets even crazier. Takeoff's real name is Kershnik Kahari Ball. If I mispronounced that, my bad. It equals 83 in the most pure cipher. Notice murder also equals 83, but take in, he died with 83 posts on his Instagram alongside his 8.3 million followers. Again, always pay attention to the details because the devil is in the details. What's even more eerie is that on his last IG story leading up to his death, he posted a picture of himself playing the song Stop Breathing by Playboi Carti, another popular Atlanta artist. Like, really? Stop breathing only for him to stop breathing due to a shot in his head/neck area, causing him to die on the scene? Like, whether it's scripted or not, it's important you are careful with the type of energy you put out. Something the Migos actually brought up in their Drink Champs interview, which is about like an hour or in like 6 minutes or so. You know, if you want to listen to that interview, you can hear them talking about moving strategically and being careful and, you know, basically paranoid to avoid making sure they end up like another rapper in the headlines. And then, of course, you have this story. But moving on, Takeoff was killed in Houston at the 810 Billiards Bowling Houston, which holds the value when you write it as such. Like, you can literally go Google their My Business Google page and it says 810 Billiards Bowling Houston, and that equals 1090, similar to the gematria of the word shooting, which equals 109. Also notice the word ritual equals 81, and this occurred at 810, like 81. Again, remove the zero, Billiards Bowling Houston. Now, here's what really put it into perspective for me in terms of who truly orchestrated this numerical riddle. Notice Quality Control Music, the very label that pushed the Migos into stardom, equals 111. Now, Takeoff, the youngest member of the trio, died on November 1st, written 11/1. I and many others usually suspect it's the labels that ritualistically kill off their artists for many reasons, but one of the main reasons that seems to resonate with most people is that they're basically doing this for money, as most have heard the phrase, "you are worth more dead than alive." Now, the label is very likely to see a spike in streaming numbers, album purchases, merchandise sales, the same old thing we see every time a young artist passes away. All the fake love comes, people's pockets and ears open up for a short period, then sadly they forget all about the person. It's really a vicious cycle in the hip-hop world. Now, QC Music was founded by Pierre P. Thomas, and P's like his nickname, and Coach K. Notice from Pierre's 41st birthday to Takeoff's death is a span of 147 days. Now, notice how Pierre Thomas equals 147 alongside the word Freemason, which equals 147. Again, it's the Freemasons and Jesuits who run these labels, and they are the ones funding these artists and forcing these labels to force their artists to only make music about toxic bullshit like sex, gangs, drugs, money. You guys know the deal. And no offense to QC as a label, but go through their roster and check out the music that their artists put out. I'd be amazed if you managed to find me some real music with substance. And no, I'm not on my high horse here. I myself have listened to the Migos back in like 2013, 2014. But honestly, I just grew up and my taste for music expanded. And at the end of the day, I always knew that music with true substance will always last, but fast food music expires. Some will say like, oh man, this guy's just hating. But the real ones will understand what I'm trying to get across here, which is that the labels promote the lowest point of black people's music and give it the biggest platforms and the most push to ultimately guide others down a lifestyle of sin. Moving on though, from Takeoff's 28th to the release of Takeoff and Quavo's latest album, Only Built for Infinity Links, is a span of 111 days, like 111. Takeoff died on 11/1. Signed to Quality Control Music, which equals, as I mentioned earlier, 111. But if you calculate from when their album released to Takeoff's death, it's a span of 25 days. The word death equals 25. Now the Migos lost 1/3 of their group, aka the youngest member. But what makes it even more of a numerical riddle is that their latest album was released on October 7th, which is the 280th day of the year. Remember, Takeoff died at the age of 28 and his stage name equals 28 in the most pure cipher. But to top it off, and what really tells me this was planned from a while back, notice the release date for Takeoff and Quavo's latest album was on October 7th, written 10/7 like the number 107. The phrase ritual sacrifice equals 107. Again, like people, you don't have to agree with me, but you really can't ignore these numbers. Now, this album actually had even more eerie synchronicities regarding Takeoff's death. Notice the 9th track on their album was titled 230. Notice, most, if not all of the news reports say the incident occurred around 2:30 a.m. 230 is like the number 23. Remember, it was the 9th track on the album. 23 is the 9th prime number, so stick with me. Plus, the words died and end equal 23. This was the end of Takeoff as we know it. Some may question who's really naming these albums and tracks. To me, I think it's the labels. Moving on, notice from Takeoff's death to Offset's upcoming birthday is a span of 44 days. The word kill and shooting both equal 44, as I mentioned earlier, right? I also calculated from Quavo's 31st to Takeoff's death, which was a span of 30 weeks and 4 days. Notice rapper and murder both equal 34. Worth adding, their latest album, Only Built for Infinity Links, equals 340, like the number 34 as well. Remember, Takeoff died on a date with 34 numerology. Now, here you can see that Houston, Texas equals 181, and 181 is the 42nd prime number. Notice 1/3 when written out in words equals 42, as well as the Migos equaling 42. Remember, Takeoff is 1/3 of the group. Now, while at this private birthday event in Houston, apparently the reason Takeoff had died was due to a dice game altercation. Notice the phrase dice game has that infamous 38 alongside the words rapper, death, killing, RIP, murder, and Gematria, as well as Kabbalah. Now, earlier I displayed the date connection between P, the founder of QC Music, but it wouldn't be right if I didn't share what I found with Coach K, the co-founder of QC Music. So notice from Coach K's 52nd birthday to Takeoff's death is a span of 7 weeks and 2 days. Notice Migos equals 72 in Gematria. Migos just lost 1/3 of their iconic trio. Now, to add to the ritualistic aspect of this man's death even more, he released his first solo album titled The Last Rocket on November 2nd of 2018. Notice November 2nd is written 11/2, like 112. When you spell out his album title with his name, it equals 112, 112, but it also equals 77. This is interesting because Takeoff died in Houston, which is the home of the Houston Rockets. And what do Rockets do? They take off. Well, notice Houston equals 112 and 77, and Takeoff died exactly 1 day before the 4-year anniversary of his first solo album. For those unaware, the number 4 is associated with the word death. In China, the number 4 sounds very similar to the word death, so they're not a fan of this number. Plus, think about how words like dead are only 4 letters and the word tomb is only 4 letters. It's even to the point where there's like many elevators that will literally skip the number 4 due to the fear of bad luck. So again, to say the least, the number 4 is associated with death. Now, what also blew my mind was that Takeoff died exactly 109 months after the release of their breakout hit, Versace. Notice, shooting and the name of the location Takeoff died have that 109 in it, as I've shown earlier. So in my opinion, this just further stamps my stance that these artists' careers are scripted from the moment they make it big. No artist is an exception to this rule. Some may get to live longer lives for whatever reason, but the reality is we all have our time to go. But these people have signed deals with the devil, and this devil will make sure you go on its terms. However, I want to close it out by saying Takeoff died at the birthday party for Jazz Prince, which falls on Halloween. And for those who have seen my Halloween decode, they would know what I'm about to say now, which is that Halloween's origins date back to the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain. The Celts, who lived 2,000 years ago, mostly in the area that is now Ireland and the United Kingdom and northern France, celebrated their new year on November 1st. This day marked the end of summer and the harvest, and the beginning of the dark, cold winter, a time of year that was often associated with human death. Celts believed that on the night before the new year, the boundary between the worlds of the living and the dead became blurred. On the night of October 31st, they celebrated Samhain, when it was believed that the ghost of the dead returned to Earth. I mean, damn, if that doesn't stamp the ritualistic nature of this death for you, then I really don't know what will. Anyways, y'all, that's what I found regarding the death of Takeoff, 1/3 of the Migos. So again, RIP to that man. Regardless whether people think it's fake or they're evil, I just say it out of respect. But yeah, if you found this video helpful, please do your boy a favor and drop a comment, hit the like button, share the content, and most importantly, subscribe. Remember, all of those things are free to do. Let's just spread this word as far and wide as possible. But yeah, stay blessed, everybody. It's your boy Script, and I'm out of here. Peace. Peace. Peace.